What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ninja Chortle, and I'm back from Combo Breaker. I'm actually just finally getting settled in, coming back from Combo Breaker. If you don't know, Combo Breaker is a fighting game tournament, and it's practically in my backyard. I mean, not actually in my backyard. It's very local. I'm in Chicago. It's in its third year, and it was a fantastic event. Check it out next year or go on YouTube. Check it out what happened this year if you like fighting games. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about what happened the night before Combo Breaker, and that's the news of the X-Men finally coming into Marvel Future Fight. I was so pumped, guys, when I heard this. Again, the news broke on this the Thursday night before I went on this Combo Breaker tournament, and I didn't participate, by the way. I was just there to watch. But it was impossible for me to make a video sooner than this because of the tournament and the time that it took to be involved within it. But I kid you not, what happened is once I heard this news about the X-Men, I literally was reading the post on Mobirum, and as soon as I came up to the word mutant, I dropped the phone. I pretty much just laid down on the ground and hysterically and just cried my eyes out. I was so happy. I got up. I chased my dog around the house. I nearly scared her to death. And then I just came back upstairs. It was like 10 minutes before I actually finished getting to the rest of the post to read about Cyclops and Storm, which had equal reactions. I did not sleep that night because the hype was so real. I literally did not sleep the entire night, and that kind of messed up my Friday going into Combo Breaker. But anyway, I'm not going to cover the X-Men and all of the information that has been already been put out there, or pretty much, we'll talk about a little bit, but really what today's video is about is what's next. Okay, like, I understand we still haven't even actually gotten the X-Men to this point, but I don't want to do a bunch of videos saying what we have every single second, because the news developing on the X-Men stuff is literally happening every day or every other day. We just got revealed last night the Rogue and Beast. We're in the middle of the event quest right now, or at least it just started yesterday, I should say. So if you guys haven't been playing Marvel Future Fight, make sure you get in now so you can get your X-Men, get these tokens and so on. But what we're talking about today is what is the possibility now that the X-Men are here. Not just what's possible within the X-Men being in the game, but what else is possible now that we have them. Where do we go from here, and what Netmarble could do, what I would love to see them do, and what I would love to hear from you guys is, what do you guys want Netmarble to do with Marvel Future Fight now that you see that the X-Men are here? Of course, everybody wants Wolverine and Deadpool and so on. That's really not what we're talking about today. That's kind of like goes without saying. I'm sure one of them, most likely Wolverine, will be in this first update. But I really want to talk about what could be. So first, what we're going to do is talk about the X-Men a little bit, and then we're going to move on to other things. I just don't want to spoil that. So again, right now we have the event quest. You can collect tokens every day, and you can save those to redeem for what appears to be only for Rogue and Beast. Cyclops and Storm aren't in this list. However, again, we don't know that with 100% certainty that these tokens won't be redeemable for them. But let's just go on the assumption and say that they won't. How will we be able to acquire these X-Men? Most likely, I say the safest bet is within a special mission story pack, or a quest pack, I should say. As you can see, we already have 2 of them. These were introduced during the Inhumans update a few months ago. So this is how you acquire Dormammu, and this is how you, well, you don't really do much with the War of Kings quest pack. You can just basically complete these tasks and you just get rewards, but there's not really anything exclusive within there, where the Dormammu quest pack, you can actually unlock Dormammu, which I've already done, but I'm still trying to round it out here. I'm almost finished there. It makes a lot of sense for the X-Men to be put in this way, and have a new quest pack. What the quest could be, well, it could be a lot of different things. It could be quest to find Wolverine. Honestly, I think Wolverine is going to be a subscription character, so I'm not even going to say that, but it could involve, again, a native tier 2 like Dormammu. So who would be best suited for that role if they were going to go down this role? And I would say that is easily Jean Grey Phoenix, without a doubt. Now, whether or not they're going to put Phoenix in this game, that hasn't been confirmed at this point of me making this video, but it's certainly a possibility of what they could do. Now, they could just totally go in this lazy as well and just say Cyclops and Storm are going to be available, and shifters, or not shifters, bio subs, or just selectors. You know, you can just get your selectors from the dimension chest, or whatever. If you got Shadowlands, and getting your Shadowlands done is very, very important. Either event, you want to get your Shadowlands done so you can get these selectors at stage 5 and stage 10 and stage 15, so that you can really collect all of the biometrics that you can for these characters. So I really would urge you guys to learn how to play Shadowlands. I do have a video going through Shadowlands. If you can't complete it without the Black Order, I don't even have my Black Order leveled up, honestly. All I have is Proxima. That's the only one, and I really didn't even use her in that run that's on the channel, so check that out. But Shadowlands is very important for any new character release. Now, what they could do, and this will kind of segue into what I want to talk about later, is they could totally introduce new story chapters to the game. Now, we already have this current story chapters are ending at chapter 12, the Asgardian update that came in December, and it introduced Odin to the game, a native tier 2 that once you complete every chapter in the game, I believe you need 3 stars to do this on each section, but once you complete each chapter, you unlock Odin, and from there you can level him up with your black antimatter, your chaos Norn stones, and all of the gold, all of the gold that you'll ever need. It takes everything from you. But they could do that same thing with the X-Men, of course. But how? The real question is, how could they do that with story? And they can do it 2 different ways, because the way they set this up, it kind of feels like that Odin is in-game content, that this is the end of the game. Like, how do you shoot higher than Odin when you're trying to compare everything? So obviously, if you're doing the Phoenix doesn't necessarily have to be more powerful than Odin. He doesn't have, or she doesn't have to be completely OP, or just the meta breaking character better than Dormammu or anything like that. She just has to be competitive with them. Be able to own lower tier characters and still be able to be effective and worth investing in. But introducing that into the game the way it is, you have to go through a lot of story. You have to beat chapter 10, which has Reyna at the end and so on, the Ages of S.H.I.E.L.D. content, and then you can go through this Asgardian stuff. And each of these levels, they require 8 energy as opposed to the normal, what is it, 4 on the normal stuff. And then if you wanted to use a clear ticket, the old stuff is only 1 clear ticket, but the new in-game content, the Asgardian update requires 2 clear tickets. So it's a huge investment of time, and it has all this Uru here. So there's a lot of things that's kind of a block to new players, or players that just don't have a complete roster. You need tier 2s to be able to get this far in the game. Really, you need Doctor Strange to complete this entire thing, to defeat Odin as the end boss. Like, it's really difficult to do this without Doctor Strange. So if you're doing this with the X-Men, how could you put that in? Well, they can do two different ways. They could introduce a new story, maybe it's 2 chapters, let's just go with that, and say, hey, we'll just add 2 chapters in the story and make them the new chapter 11 and the new chapter 12, and then shift the Asgardian content and make those the new chapter 13 and chapter 14. That way, any player that is coming into the game for the first time and they really want to play the X-Men and they want to farm X-Men characters, they don't have to go past chapter 11 and 12, because you have to, that's how you get Odin. You basically would say, oh, we're going to put these new X-Men chapters after chapter 12. That means you have to beat Odin first before you get the X-Men. That doesn't make sense. But if you move these things around and you can put chapter 11 and 12 as the X-Men chapters and move the Asgardian stuff to 13 and 14, then that means they just have to just continue on through the story. It's still going to be difficult, but that's already a precedent of what we have if you wanted to unlock Daisy and Deathlock and Coulson and so on, is that you had to beat chapter 8 to get that far, and then now you're able to unlock Coulson and stuff. So it would just be an addition to the story without making a huge barrier. The other thing that they could do is the exact same idea and keep everything the way it is, add a chapter 13 and add a chapter 14, but have it just completely skip the requirements of beating 11 and 12. So you can basically skip from 10 to 13, beat Reina, beat the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, and then go straight into the X-Men if you choose to, without having to do any of the chapter 11, because it's such a high requirement. That's pretty much the same thing. You can do that and still have those X-Men be farmable if you want farmable X-Men. It's really hard to say right now what they're going to do with those X-Men, because I imagine some of them will be farmable. There's tons of X-Men. It doesn't make any sense that all of the X-Men would be biosub, or all of them native tier 2, or anything like that, or even all of them straight from the dimension chest. Some of them will be farmable in some kind of way. I can't see a world where a character like Gambit or Colossus and all of that would all be exclusive to the dimension chest. So just like the Inhumans, they're unfarmable. That's why the special missions make more sense, but they can totally do that with the story. Now, moving on from the X-Men, that actually went a little bit longer than I anticipated. What really all of this means is that Marvel is fully invested into Marvel Future Fight, and that Marvel now has the ability to do whatever they want to with this game, which is very exciting. Putting the X-Men in this game doesn't mean that we're just going to get X-Men characters and villains. It means that every Marvel character is available to them now. That includes the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom and so on. That includes Galactus. That includes the Silver Surfer, Adam Warlock. That includes everybody, Namor and so on. Past, present, and future characters. No, that doesn't specifically say that when they put the X-Men in, but it does actually say that, because you put this barrier on this game for so long that the X-Men couldn't be in there. And all these other games like Contest of Champions or Marvel Heroes, I understand they've been established well before this game came out, but they didn't have that barrier, but this game did. Now that barrier is gone, is broken. That means the Fantastic Four can come in at any point, and I fully expect them to come in at some point. This also opens the door for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, who is it's very infamous that they're not in this game. You have so many characters in this game, so many favorite people that from all of these Marvel Cinematic movies. Your Captain America, you got your Thor, you got Iron Man, you got so many characters, but you don't have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver because of the whole Fox rights thing. They're not in this game. They're going to be in the game at some point, and I actually expect it to happen just like this. where we get these X-Men characters, which right now are again Storm, Cyclops, Beast, and Rogue confirmed, and then I expect a Wolverine and possibly Gambit and Magneto. I definitely expect Wolverine to be a subscription character. Magneto is a possible native tier 2 or just a dimension chest type character. And Gambit in there somewhere. And then it looks like it's possibility, if you were to look at these event quest names, that based off these names, Master of Dimensions, that very well could be Magic to me, because she is from the, not from, but she's master and lord over Limbo, which is another dimension. So I take that as Magic, but it could be Nightcrawler, it could be someone else. The Gale Way is Storm. Clash of Ideas could be Magneto. Potential Danger could be Wolverine. Let's just go with that. Beast is Beast Unleashed. Or that could be Wolverine 2. Energy Absorption is Rogue. Power of the Cards, Gambit. Brain, Brutal's Beast. Millionaire Life has got to be Angel or Archangel. Indomitable Will could be Cyclops or something like that, if we're going off of that list. So those could be the characters we see right now. It could be characters that we see half of them now. It could be half later, and so on. But that we're getting X-Men now. The next update will be in July, but we have Spider-Man Homecoming in July. That movie's coming out at that point. So then I expect to see more Spider-Man content, like a Rogues Gallery for Spider-Man, introducing Vulture and Shocker and Rhino, and maybe a handful of other villains, and possibly some new spiders like Spider-Man 2099, or who else? Ben Reilly, the Spider-Man, could make it in the game, maybe a new skin, so on. But that will most likely be our July. We won't get any X-Men at that point. But come August, we can get right back into this thing. And that's when I expect to see either Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver with a few more X-Men, or the Fantastic Four. What kind of update we can do. So really, just like I said with the X-Men, they can do it a number of different ways and introduce them with story or special missions, but it really makes more sense to me that it be story. And why I say story for specifically for the Fantastic Four is because of Doctor Doom. You can't have Doctor Doom and not write up a really awesome story for him, and really introduce him to the game just like Odin was introduced. So I expect him to be like in-game content as well, and be the new chapter, whatever it is we are at that time. Again, Odin introduced as the in-game for chapter 12. You get him once you beat that. So if there was a special, or excuse me, a story mission or chapters for the Fantastic Four, you can fight each member of the Fantastic Four, just like you do here in the Asgardian, where you fight, you fight Ulik, but you also fight Fandral and Hogan and Volstagg. These are good guys. We fight good guys all throughout Marvel Future Fight. You guys know how this game works. So we can fight the Fantastic Four, acquire their bios, but then in later missions in each chapter, we can fight Super Skrull. That's somebody that's not in this game that is now opened up to be in this game, and we can play as Super Skrull, and he'll have all the powers of the Fantastic Four. They could put in Ronan, who's already in the game and associated with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but traditionally he's more associated with the Fantastic Four. So that's a good place to make him as a farmable character within their within the game, within the story, just like Malekith is here. Malekith was just a Dimension Chest only character when he was introduced. You can only get him through Dimension Chest or the shifters as a shifter, ally or enemy. But with the Asgardian update, they threw him as farmable for just one mission, and that's really nice. So they can do the same thing with Ronan and throw him in there with the Fantastic Four. And then also you can do Mole Man. another character with Fantastic Four, have him be involved with their story, and you can farm him 3 times again, just kind of like Ulik or any other villain, and then eventually he's going to work into Doctor Doom being the in-game content. That's how I see things with Doctor Doom. So let me know if you think that's a cool idea. If Doctor Doom were to be like the new in-game content, and he can be just as powerful, because really Doctor Doom is the most significant and important, powerful, not the most powerful, but most significant villain and the most popular villain that Marvel has. Without Doctor Doom, a lot of the stuff that the villains even do now would be completely different, because he's basically organized the Masters of Evil, and with him and Loki, you can work them two together. That would be awesome to see that in this game. The Marvel games just don't have to go by their old ways of making sure everything ties into each movie and each TV show. They're still going to do that because it makes sense, but they're not obligated to do so, and they're able to take a tangent and go off and say, okay, we have our own story and we have our own unique ideas, and we want to use these characters. And that's one of the big reasons why the X-Men are now coming into Marvel Future Fight. Marvel's one, they're embracing the X-Men and putting them in the spotlight in the comics, and if you guys haven't been seeing any TV shows like Legion, which is fantastic, it's a great show. They're putting them more in the spotlight. They got the New Mutants movie coming out pretty soon. I think it's a year off from here. Deadpool's who's coming out. There's gonna be, yes, Deadpool's gonna come in the game. It's gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen right now. But Deadpool, and there's a whole Gifted TV show coming on Fox later on. So there's a whole lot of things with the X-Men, and soon there will be more Fantastic Four with the comic books, or at least we assume that they're going to be coming back very soon. So Marvel really is really hearing you guys out. They know your concerns, especially with this game, and with the X-Men finally here, we're going to see a lot of stuff changing. Silver Surfer, guys, what are we going to do with Silver Surfer hits? How are they going to introduce that? That's another character that can totally become a quest pack type of deal, where he's a special missions type of deal, and he's introduced with a quest pack, and you just complete the task and you get bios for him. I would love to see the Shi'ar in here. It would actually be a great way to put in Gladiator and all of that if you introduce them with Shi'ar quest pack or something like that. Realm of Kings. What if Vulcan comes in here? That's more X-Men stuff. So many possibilities, and it's really exciting. Guys, let me know what you guys think of this video, of my ideas. Let me know your ideas about what you think the future of Marvel Future Fight will be and can be, as far as story, as far as characters. Again, we already know the X-Men are coming, and totally leave me a comment of what X-Men you want to see the most. That's not Wolverine or Deadpool, because guys, they're coming. Just there are other X-Men. Which are the other ones that you guys are excited for? Me personally, I'm excited to see Magic, Nightcrawler, a little bit of Iceman, and I'm glad they already confirmed Rogue, so I don't have to put her on my list. But definitely Magic and Kitty Pryde. I really need some Kitty Pryde in my life. But I will see you guys in the next video. We're going to keep talking about X-Men and Marvel Future Fight, and I'm definitely going to have some videos when this stuff comes up. I don't know exactly when they're going to put them in the game, but if you judge by the event quest timer, there's 6 days left as of this recording. It'll be 5 days left as of the post. They may drop at that point. They may drop a week later. We don't know, but we know it's going to happen in the month of June. So get hype. I can't wait to see all of these mutants fly around in this game. It's so beautifully animated. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.